I'm lucky we're even talking about this, to be honest. If Epic was dusted with Gears and maybe still held on to their IP to this day, would we even have a new Gears title to discuss? Yet here we are, another Gears title in the franchise's library, 3 years since Gears 4, and the community, alongside the franchise's multiplayer component, has felt like it's been in freefall for the past month. Things are never as bad as they seem, though. I wouldn't write things off just yet. Gears 5's recovery, so to speak, is sure in sight after a turbulent launch. As a preface, I'm speaking exclusively about the multiplayer experience during the Coalition's tenure at the helm of Gears of War. What they've achieved with the Gears campaigns, especially graphically, has been nothing short of fascinating and inconceivable achievement. As online experiences go, Gears of War 4 wasn't a bad game. Sure, the loot box issues, split weapon tuning, matchmaking times, and season pass certainly tarnished the experience for some. But for the most part, Gears 4 was a safe, solid entry into the revered franchise that harboured lots of room for improvement, which is where Gears 5 comes into the fray. Fans and the industry collectively applauded what appeared to be a studio making all the right decisions. Week after week, we continued to be exposed to great, promising news as the Coalition began to release key Gears 5 information into the wild. We had 60Hz servers, universal weapon tuning, pattern-based recoil, no RNG, to name a few. TC was certainly listening to the community, and prime concerns with 5's predecessor were being addressed one after the other. TC was taking out the old parts and upgrading their engine relentlessly, new wheels fitted and shiny interior to go with it. The lessons had been learnt, the creases from Gears 4 appeared to be ironed away, and we looked to be onto a winner. Maybe after an abundance of updates and fixes later, we will be. Gears 5 launched following a rocky tech test, that's what they're for, and most regrettably, the game released in the state of what seemed to be an expanded test. If I decided to list all the issues the game launched with, well, we'd probably be fast approaching Gears 6, and some of you would be wondering what on earth had happened to me. Playing Modern Warfare, enjoying Outer Worlds. No, just writing endless lists comprising alarming issues that Gears 5 unfortunately had the displeasure of parenting with from the get-go. To caveat for a second here, all game releases, whether it be Gears, Halo, Call of Duty, whatever, they launch with an abundance of issues with what seems to be a community in uproar every single damn time. Gears 3 had a rough start. Do you remember the forums back then? I certainly do. I can't remember specifics, but in routine fashion, people were pissed. Gears 4 debuted the atrocious loot crate model, accompanied by the heinous RNG system, often forcing players to purchase the content they desired, not to mention the state of that season pass. So it wasn't great. Gears 2 was a blissful launch, no hiccups, smokes that could make you fly. I'm kidding, that game will go down in video game history as the worst online launch I've actually experienced. Good lord, what a monumental disaster that was. The most annoying thing is that Gears was already enough of a niche as it was. We had fierce competition on the rise as Call of Duty was crowned king, setting in place a predetermined domination for the first-person shooter genre. And that woeful blunder of an online debut probably inflicted irreparable damage on the franchise that's still feeling the effects today. I think the casual Gears community, the lore fanatics that only play the game for the story, and let's be honest, that is most people, are still scarred by Gears 2 to present day. Fast forward to 2019, numerous titles later, and we appear to be on familiar ground. As bad as Gears 2? No, absolutely not. But it's another rough start, and it's one which begs the question, was Gears 5 released too early? I think so. Yeah. Gears of War has always been a niche. It's hard to imagine this franchise's online component hitting the heights of the Destinies, the Fortnites and Call of Duties. However, we had hoped to at least be within a shot, right? Everyone wanted this game to succeed online from the get-go, as Gears only gets one shot at captivating the masses every 3 years or so. The community is in a loophole of debates and discussions over what the game actually is in its current state. Is it too easy, too accessible? Aim assist is the current hot topic, and to his credit, Node Zero, Ryan Cleveland, is asking the community their thoughts on various nuances and gameplay components that compose the Gears Online experience, debating and discussing decisions endlessly. Of all the criticism that Ryan and his team have received over the past few months, one thing is clear. Fans are so frustrated with the developers and Gears 5 that it hurts, but above all, they care. A game that launches without free-for-all, hardly any new game modes, without 2v2, with a mere 7 multiplayer versus maps, a offensively priced store, an overly ambitious, complicated esports mode that the audiences cannot understand, accompanied by every possible problem that you can imagine, you're in trouble. And this game needed the next Operation expansion pack yesterday. Now, thankfully, the Coalition appear to be hard at work fixing and improving their child, but Gears 5 is far from a brilliant online title. But with the current longevity of modern day games, there's still a hope for Gears 5, and it will take time. And whether players are lost for good, it remains to be seen. But Gears 5 has the promise to be a fantastic Gears of War entry down the line. But how far down the line do we have to go until we're at that state? The industry will see Gears 5 as one step forward, but fans of the franchise currently feel like it's 2 steps back. And the studio has become a meme in some aspects. Their ongoing issues with their ranking system, the game's plethora of problems that seems to be something of a normality at this point. The community team have their own parody accounts. That's how hilariously bad this situation has become. Whatever decision the higher-ups are making, I don't think it's people who are the face of the game. I think it's people way above, and someone's got to be held accountable, because the esports community is unhappy, the core community is unhappy. The only people that are happy are the people that are no longer playing the game, the audience that plays Gears once every few years for the story. Because to them, because what they experienced was arguably a success, because the campaign, it was a solid entry. You might have your own issues with it, but overall, the general consensus is that the Coalition knocked it out the park with this campaign. They took more risks. Yeah, the open world was a little empty and felt a little rushed, but overall, it was a solid entry to the story. So, as a whole, the industry will see Gears 5 as a success, but we all know that that's not the case. It's all been incredibly disappointing, and the whole approach to escalation, the store, the grindy tour of duty, the lack of content. Let's not, blood sprays, banners, I don't count. Sorry guys, I just don't. It's pretty dumbfounding that the abilities for characters seem to have made it so much more difficult for the Coalition to bring a character out. It's almost as if the decisions from the higher-ups of making the work harder. I think the damage is already done. They may be able to induce a few players back, but once again, our community, our fan base will remain small, and we'll have to wait for round 3, which is the next generation, when Gears 6 inevitably arrives 3 or 4 years down the line. But if there's one thing I could say about that, it would be to implore the Coalition not to release it until it is beyond ready. Because Gears 5 seriously lack polish, they've had a bad launch, and they will suffer for that. And we will as well. It's also important to empathise with developers on a human level. They're people, just like you. Don't insult them, don't threaten them, be constructive, have some patience. Because we really need patience. But I'm sure they're hard at work, and let's just hope that however long down the line it is, that we have a solid Gears title that we can all enjoy, because right now it's far from it. Thank you for listening. I hope I'll see you next time.